Hey y'all, I'm going to show you a quick little count if video. Screen one. Okay, there we go. I'm going to do this with quantitative and categorical data just so you can see how it would work. So I have a bunch of quantitative data. I think these are like made up quiz scores. And I want to create a little a representation of this so I can kind of easily see what's happening. But the first step is actually to process the information into a more organized form because this is just a raw list of information. So I'm going to do first, I notice the scores go from 1 to 10. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I don't need to um, to do more there because I can just highlight this and then this will count for me. This works with Excel and Google Sheets. I'll do this one in Excel. I'll do the next one in Google Sheets. And then I'll do a count if here. And so the count if is a little complicated, but basically I highlight what I want to count from. Because I'm going to use autofill, I'm actually going to use fixed cell references here so this doesn't move around on me. So that's a thing that I sometimes forget to do. And then I'm going to say I'm looking for this number. That's the red highlighted number. That one I'm not fixing because I want, as I go down, I want to look at B7 and then B8 and then B9 because I'm going to look for ones and then I want to look for twos and then I'm going to look for threes. All right. So this is looking good because there's 1 in that table. There's no twos. There is 1 3. So autofill is I have a formula here. It could be all three of these or just this one, doesn't matter because these are all the same formula. And I'm highlighting bottom right corner. I see how my cursor changes and then I click and drag down. And just to satisfy myself that this is right, I'm going to add these up. Some zip. I always think it's a good practice to think about checking in. Like, does it make sense? Is it working? Did it, because it's easy to make mistakes. This is 30. This is 30. I see 4 10s. I see 4 10s. This is good. At that point, then it's a simple matter of going to insert. Recommended chart would be great. And then I can pop my chart in. Now I can see graphically, oh, yeah, 8s and 9s were the majority of the scores. And that's really the power of graphical representations. They tell us information so quickly and make it much easier to see and understand than just looking at a bunch of numbers. Like, oh my God, there's so many numbers. Okay, now let's do some categorical data. And I told you I was going to use Excel, Google Sheets to do it. So let me open up a Google Sheet here. And I'm going to bring in a data set that's real, not made up. Okay, just stuff in the way, get out of my way, get out of my way. Okay, let me just highlight some stuff here. And I said we're going to do categorical data. So I'm going to just, where's this? So I'm going to highlight, I'm just going to highlight a bunch of data. I'll do all of 2015. So this is the Washington Post effort, post Michael Brown, to help become a place where there would be information available. You could actually know something about, who's getting shot and killed by the police. So I know that can be a hard subject for some people. And on one hand, I'm sensitive to that, and also, like, data is just data. It tells the story of our world, and we have to decide whether we want to look at it or not. So let's say that I'm interested in the just understanding something about mental health, right? Because a lot of times that's a part of the story. Well, I think a lot of times it's part of the story. Let's actually find out. In 2015, there were a lot of people shot and killed by the police. how much of the time was mental illness, there were signs of mental illness. So we're skipping over the part about how that was determined, and that's a part of data and statistics is like, how do we actually collect data? But let's assume this is a good data set and that this is accurate. So let's find out. Let's just create a bar chart that shows us very quickly, because again, scanning this, although I can see there's a lot of falses here. So my guess would be it would be more false than true that there were signs of mental illness, but a graph would give me a very quick representation of that. So I'm going to go over here and do something very similar. I'm going to have true and I'm going to have false. And then I'm going to have my count over here. And so again, I can use COUNTIF and I can be looking in column K. Here I don't need, because I'm just doing a single column, I don't need to do a fixed cell reference. And then I'm going to be looking for true. And let's see if it works. Oh, okay. And then one of the things that's interesting about Google Sheets is it actually does suggested autofills. So sometimes that's exactly what you want. This is a pretty good sign, because if we do the sum here of these two, we get 995. And I think if we look at the total number here, let's just do a count at the bottom. That was a lot of humans. Count. And then we'll go from here, well, from B2 to B996. Oh, right, because count actually only works on quantitative data. So let's do that one, 992. Okay, interesting. So this says 996, and this says 992. This is real data, and that means that there's things that are missing. Like this, very interesting. This is a human that was killed, and nobody knows the person's name, the male's name, or how old they were. Very interesting. Anyways, I feel good because 996 seems like it's too high, but remember that there is a row for a header, and therefore there's 995 pieces of information. So all of that data has been filled in. And now we're going to make the graph, insert, chart, and we got the pie chart option, we got a bar chart option. So that's it. Definitely the flow of like the interface is different in Google Sheets and Excel, but you can still produce the same thing. And actually this tells me something interesting, which is that I was kind of over emphasizing the role of mental health in the police shootings. It's not like it hardly ever happens, but it's definitely not even close to 50-50. Most of the people shot and killed by police in 2015, at least, did not show signs of mental illness. Okay, so that's the skills there are processing raw data into a little table, call that a frequency table, and then using that frequency table to make a graphical representation. Hope that helps.